Hi, this is Bruce, and today we're going to take a look at link master analysis, or LMA, and get you started importing and analyzing your first set of log files. So you launch link master using the icon that's posted on your desktop here. And when you first launch it, you'll see it'll open up with a blank workspace. So this name up here, this is a workspace that contains log files. So right now we have no log files loaded. You can go ahead and hit the plus sign, and this will add log files to a workspace. But the option I usually use is to go ahead and hit new. That's going to create a name. So we'll say Quickstart LMA. And within here, I've got a collection of log files. So why don't we just open the first one? I'll go through and show you some additional options that you've got for importing here. But we'll just get started with the first one. So let's let it load. There we go. The file's almost finished importing. So in this first log file, right now as it imports the data, it's creating a database. And so now what we have is this new workspace name and the first log file that's attached to it. The basic structure, here on the left, you'll have the menu options. A lot of different parameters are underneath each of these, but we'll just start with a simple one. So under LTE, we can grab maybe the RSRP, and the basics is that you'll right click on top of a parameter that you're interested in looking at. And now we can look at that data in a variety of ways. So either a map, a grid, some statistics charts, or time graphs. And so we'll just start with a map. And it opens up a map for us and shows us this drive. Now you'll see the Google Maps underneath it's a little pixelated because I'm zoomed in. If I can zoom out, and you zoom out by right clicking and dragging to the upper left, and to zoom in you right click and you drag down to the right. Now I mentioned Google Maps behind it. You can right click and go to Google Maps and manual refresh, and that will go grab the version or the new version of the maps for underneath it. So that's how we get started with loading a map. I do have the cell site tables loaded, and there's another video posted that shows you how to import them. Let me show you real quickly. If you go to cells and open, this is the cell site file that I've loaded, just a test database I've got. And what that allows you to do, one of the options is up here is called connection, on or off. And you can also get to that here under connection. Right now I've got it turned on, so that as you click on points, I can zoom in a little bit. It'll draw a trace line. Let me grab Google Maps one more time. So it'll draw a trace line from your current location back to the serving sector that you are on. So they're coming from 257, I'm getting served that straight line. And it does give you the distance for you. So that's how the maps and the cell site database come in. And you'll notice that the legend is set here. You do have the option to kind of move it around if you want to, or if you want to remove this parameter completely, just right click on the top, remove the parameter. Now I might want to grab RSRQ. And if I put two parameters on top of each other, for example, I've just taken the RSRQ and the RSRP, they're on top of each other. Let me zoom out just a little bit. This little @ sign right here is a bit of a legend control that you can use. So it's a bit of a master legend. So you can turn on and turn them all off side by side. Or if I just want to look at specific values like this right here, I can right click and hit visible. And what that's done is it's only turned on that one legend bit. So now I'm only looking at data points that are between -110 and 120. I can turn on the other ones from 100 to 110, or turn them all on. So that's legend control. Let me mention also about cell sites. If I zoom in again, if I click on the cell site itself, it will do a trace line from the sectors to the location. So if I go grab this one here, let me zoom out a little bit. It'll show me where this sector was serving on my drive. So the visibility into your drive is important. We still have two parameters here. If I want to shift them so I can see them next to each other. So let me clear all the connections real quick. Connection, and let me clear them all. Now if I right click and go to trace, and I do shifted trace, that will move the two parameters in relation to each other. And you can adjust that offset using right click, trace, shifted measure offset. So right now I'm doing a Y offset of 22 pixels. So all of my data has been shifted up by 22. So if I zoom in, I'll get the two parameters on top of each other there. If I want to turn that off, right click and turn the shifted trace off, and they go back to each other. If you want to adjust the legends, the colors, just go grab the parameter on the left, right click on it, and you can set the legend. Change the color if you want to, change the value, 62, whatever you want to change. And you can save legends here and you can load them if you want for later. There's a variety of other parameters or ways to look at the data, so I'll close the map for now. I might want to look at this from a time graph view. Time graph allows you to drag and drop other parameters on top of it. So let's grab the SINR. So just drag and drop using left click, and that will look at the data from the start of the drive to the end of the drive. If I want to look at this in a grid format, you can right click, and at the bottom it says send to a grid. Now this data looks like an Excel spreadsheet. So PCI is loaded here, RSRP and SINR. If I went back and created my map, so I have my original, and I'm going to put all three of those next to each other by going to the window, and I'm going to tile them vertically. There's an option here called the synchronization. If you turn on the auto sync, then as I click in a point in time on the time graph, it lines up all my other data. So this particular grid, let me make it a little bit smaller since the zooming in there. Okay, let's see if that helps a little bit. So you can see it's highlighted this blue. If I move my line to later, it lines up the map, shows me the sector I'm talking to over here, which is 175. In my grid, you can see it's lined up 175, what was my RSRP and what was my SINR at that point in time. Using the time graph, if you left click and drag to the right, that will zoom in. If you left click and drag to the left, that will zoom out. Or if you hit the R at the top, that will take you back to the kind of the full view. There's a lot of other views too. If you take the RSRP, you can right click and create a statistics chart. This is your histogram view, along with your, let me move that over a little bit. So each bucket, as well as your cumulative probability distribution is there. If I want a correlation graph, it starts up blank and then asks me to create a correlation between two, so I'll grab the RSSI. And what this does is it shows me the correlation between the RSRP value and the RSSI value on this side, which is typically a straight line when you get to a little higher power levels. If you want to look at layer 3 message, detailed analysis, you're going to right click on top of the parameter and go into log view. And it brings up a raw view of it. So what you'll do is this top one here is called the base filter. Hit the base filter. That allows you to look at specific messages that you want. So I'll just turn on, you can turn on just the RRC request messages or just the measurement control, but I'll keep them all on, so they've got a checkbox next to them. And now here's the service request message, for example. This is an uplink message. This is the timestamp down to the millisecond. And then on the right side, you will get the decode. So if I get a connection request message, you'll get the full decode there on the right side. Then you can zoom in and out or scroll down to get more information as you want to. So layer 3 is located there, and decode's available. So the synchronization also works in this view. So if I go back to, say, the grid and I click on a point in time, the log view will tell me what it was doing at that exact time. All right. Hopefully that gets you started on LMA. We'll go into some more details on import options and things like that next. All right.